It's Monday, it's 8 p.m, it's the Monday assessment.
Your people gather around your town when things are on the up or things are falling down. Celebrate the high times, stay passionate through the lows, find strength in the chaos, no matter which way it goes. It's not easy being blue. Heartbreak comes in many ways, the hardest times, the darkest days, but all these things get washed away with us, with us. The highs might not come every day, but memories do, and memories stay. Enjoy that moment anyway with us, with us, with us. It's not easy being blue. It's not easy being blue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday Assessment, brought to you by The View from the Medway Fancast, in partnership with Gillingham FC Supporters Club, Sports Social Podcast Network, Her Game Too, and sponsored by Snodhurst Used Car Sales and Service Station and Wicked Creative. In a week where the league was put on hold for FA Cup duties, the Gills travelled to Newport, where unfortunately we exited at the first round for the second year in a row, this time on penalties, which is a record for the Gills, as we have never exited the FA Cup on penalties. Tonight will be a little bit different. We will go over the Newport game briefly, but we will be bringing you a review of the season so far. So I will show you today's panel. We have myself, we got Warren, who is on holiday. We got Jack, and we've got Chris. How are we, boys?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I hope nobody's missing the meerkats.
Just a quick one before we start, and I hand you over to Warren for the Views News. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I don't know if any of you saw the message that Chris put on social media yesterday. He lost a very close friend, Andy Marsh. So this show will be dedicated to him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just want to add as well, I was halfway through when I was doing the graphics last night. So if there is any grammatical or numerical mistakes, I will apologise because I was in somewhat of a state of shock. So, just want to give a shout out to Emma and his wife and kids and mum and dad. So, yeah.
And I will now hand you over to Warren from Tenerife.
Well, welcome from sunnier climes and much warmer climes. It's currently 23 degrees, 24 degrees at the moment. It's lovely and warm. It's lovely and warm. We're expecting temperatures of 31 degrees tomorrow. I'm sure that I will have a drink for every Gillingham fan that's watching. So we'll go on to the Views News. Now, the FA Cup has become a bit of an anomaly for a lot of people. So I want to go to Jack first, because obviously he's a new member to the View from the Medway team. And obviously he looks younger than my testicles. So...
I'll take that. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week. And that's only Monday, but yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. So I'll go to you, Jack. What does the FA Cup mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Christ, I mean, I absolutely love it. I think the FA Cup first round draw is one of my favourite times of the season. Obviously, it gets better when we get to the third round. It gets a little bit more exciting when the bigger boys come into it. But I love it, especially from sort of a non-league perspective, and seeing what where those guys can get to, and seeing where the sticky draws might be and where the giant killings might come into it. Yeah, I love it. I think it's the cup. Well, it should be the cup for the fans, shouldn't it? Really.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of history to it. I've been brought up in sort of with football from my old man, and it's something that he's always been very passionate about, very excited about. You know, I'll be honest, I haven't got many great memories of the FA Cup with Gills since being a Gills fan. I think the Villa game, I can't remember what season it was, but when they brought quite a few of their big names down and we gave them a good game when it would have been under Stimpson, I would imagine, was probably the
2008, I think.
best occasion. But yeah, I love it. It's a shame. It's a shame we're out of it. But yeah, FA Cup's massive for me.
yeah. So I'll go to you, Chris. Losing on penalties in another cup game, right? What's going on with our penalty taking?
I don't know, but it's a bit of a lottery, isn't it? I mean, some people have said to me, "Oh, Sam Vokes hitting the bar. You should be testing the keeper." But you know, when you're 12 yards out, it's very different for a fan to. It's very easy for a fan to sit there and say he should be doing this, he should be doing that. Any player should be doing this and that. But yeah, 12 yards out when you're actually playing a game, I know myself, like taking penalties. I could score goals, but taking penalties was always a bit of a Achilles heel for me when I was playing. Obviously, not to the level that they are, but across any level. So yeah, I'm not really. They're a lottery, mate. We could have won. You know, if Jake Turner hadn't been called off for being off the line, and you know, he saved the ball, we could have then gone on to win the game. It's just fine margins, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree, but I think losing to Wimbledon in the cup, in the League Cup, and losing to Newport in the FA Cup by penalties means that we need to have a better strategy when it comes to penalty shootouts, and we may need it to this in the Turfu, pizza. I don't give a shit cup. Against Wickham, we may need penalty takers to step up. So I'll come to you, David. I know you was at the game, and a rare trip abroad for you. And I hope they didn't nick your passport. Tell me about the game, David. I wasn't there. I had to work. I didn't go. I loved the FA Cup. Really gutted that I missed it. Tell me about the game.
Yeah, it was one I was looking forward to and was quite confident considering the run we've been on. And it seems to just be a little bit of the run we're on at the moment. And I hate using the words huff and puff, but it just felt a little bit like that. It was a little bit chaotic at times. Newport had a lot of the ball. Weather wasn't great. I was quite happy with the lineup, even though once we kicked off, it was a little bit confusing further up the pitch. It looked like they started Nevitt off of Andrews, which kind of meant that Nevitt was kind of getting into the areas where I think Dak would have wanted to be. So you kind of then didn't really see Dak too much in the first half. Again, Nevitt scored a really good goal, and then from there, you kind of, I think there we kind of thought, well, we're going to go on here and score a few more, and unfortunately, it wasn't the case. From the moment we took the lead, it kind of reverted back to norm of recent, and we were lucky to get a last minute equaliser from a really good finish by Seb Palmer Holden. And as I said, slightly painful, it was. We had 4 captains over the whole game as well, so it kind of shows that it was just chaotic. Obviously, Little went off at half time, looked like he was limping at the end of the game, so I don't think it was protecting him. I think it was enforced. The armband then goes to Dak, he goes off, it then goes to Mackenzie, and then it finishes with Sam Vokes. So yeah, overall it was just very chaotic, very, very disappointing, because it was a really winnable game. And like Jack said at the start, it's a cup for the fans, and unfortunately we were only in it for one round. Yeah,
I'd like to go back to you, David. Jake Turner, how did he play?
Well, I thought he played pretty well. I think my overall feelings on Turner. I don't particularly think he's good enough to be a number one, but I don't think he really put a foot wrong, really. Bar his kicking. Again, every so often he does kick the ball straight out of play, but his shot stopping, he was commanding of the box. I wasn't really at fault for any of the goals. The first goal was a little bit of a scramble. Obviously did well on the penalties, and yeah, he's not normally a goalkeeper that fills me with great confidence, but on Saturday, there was never a point where I was on edge when he was close to the ball. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, it's good to know. I'd like to come back to you, Jack, and talk about club finances. So, obviously, you do the Lower League Ground podcast. What do you think the money does for clubs like Gillingham going forward if we was to get to the third round in these competitions? Because, to me, I don't think we've bothered for years with it, right? And we've got all this, let's concentrate on the league and, we're going to do well in the league. It's baloney, complete baloney, right? Tell me what you think it does for lower league clubs like Gillingham.
I mean, in theory, what it should do is go straight back into the club, right? And I'm not necessarily saying it needs to go straight on playing squad and players, but it will go back into the club in some way or another. Facilities, it might go into the recruitment teams, the scouting budgets, and all of that sort of stuff. That's what I would imagine. Pitch maintenance, especially the further down you get. I don't know if we. I probably wouldn't say we didn't bother at the weekend. I think we probably. I would suggest we probably went for it. It was just one of those games, but I definitely get what you're saying. I think over the years, again, certainly since I've been following Gills, it has felt a little bit underwhelming from our perspective. But yeah, financially, that's what I would expect. I don't think the money coming in, certainly up to round 3, is going to be enough to improve your playing squad necessarily, but it's definitely enough to go back into the club in some way or another.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I'll finish off with you, Chris, and I've forgotten what I was going to say, so forgive my dementia. For me, right, the FA Cup is about glory. It's not often young, smaller clubs have glory. Now, Chatham were very unlucky against Buxton. We played Newport, teams that we should be getting, we should be beating, in my opinion. Now, David came across the word chaotic during his summary of the game. Do you think it's been a little bit chaotic since Dobbo's taken over and Gareth's been off sick?
Yeah. Cool, I'll tell you what, that's the second week in a row you two have asked me, you or David have asked me a really difficult question. I think it has. I think maybe, as I said last week, I believe that, Dobbo without Gareth doesn't work, and potentially Gareth without Dobbo doesn't work. I think that, is it chaotic within the squad? Possibly. You don't necessarily have your talismanic figure there to, guide it as much. I mean, there's only so much that he can do. We are told that he's involved in team selection and things within training, but, there is 90 minutes of football that he can't be involved in, because there's no physical way that an ever-changing game over 90 minutes, 120 minutes, whatever, that he can be involved in that situation. That is all on Dobbo. Chaotic, maybe. I wouldn't put it down to that. I just put it down to we're in a really terrible situation at the moment that no one could have foreseen.
But could we have foreseen it? Now, I'm going to talk about this later on in the show when we go through the season review. I actually think that, personally, we've been very lucky this season, but I think losing Ainsworth has been a great big loss, and I think Dobbo's like a bit of a cat in the headlights when things are a little bit down. And to change the captain 4 times during a game, to me, all right, there may have been injuries, but it just disjoints the whole thing, and that's what I'm seeing at the moment. Since Dobbo's been in sole charge and Gareth's recuperating from his heart op, I just see it's still a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think AD made a good point there. Disjointed rather than chaotic. I think that's probably a better way of putting it. But yeah, I mean, Saturday may have been chaotic, but for me, yeah, it is very disjointed at the moment. But yeah, sorry, Warren.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'll hand you back to David, and he can take us through the rest of the show.
Thank you very much. So we're moved back in time, back to August, when we all were full of expectations of, as always. Players had come, players had gone, and we were ready for the season to start. So as you can see, August. So what I'm going to do for each month is read through the scores. We'll then flick onto another page where it's got the stats, and from that point, we go round the table, and everyone will give their views on that month. So for August, so we opened with Accrington Stanley. We drew 1-1. We then were at home to Walsall. We won 1-0. We went to Tranmere and drew 1-1. We then had back-to-back home games against Chesterfield and Crewe, which we won 4-1 and 1-0. And then we finished the month with an away trip to Oldham, which we won 1-0. And this got us our third year in a row of having the August Manager of the Month. And for that month, as you can see, we played 6, won 4, drew 2, scored 9, conceded 3, and had 14 points. So I'll come to you, Warren. If you could just give us an overview. If you could just give us an overview of your thoughts of August as a whole, and if you can remember that far back, what your thoughts were going into that Accrington game, and what your hopes were for the season.
I mean, I believe that we're missing a couple of components, and I've said this before the season started. I said that we needed a new goalkeeper. Nobody agreed with me, but hell, I'm always right. We desperately needed a centre half or centre midfield with a little bit of nous, especially a centre half, which is ringing true now. Someone who can talk, because it's all right playing the youngsters, but the conversation levels between the younger lads ain't that great, in my opinion. And not having a goalkeeper that does a lot of shouting to those young boys, I think we're short. I'll go through August. Accrington, we was lucky to draw, in which was a dour game. I think the only game that we actually played well in August and got exactly what we deserved was probably Chesterfield. I thought that was a fantastic performance. I think August we flattered to deceive a little bit, because I didn't think we played that well, but we got results and we didn't get beat. So, as far as I'm concerned, we were higher than what I expected anyway.
Thank you, mate. So, same to you, Jack, really. What were your thoughts of August, and did you have a particular highlight of the August fixtures?
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's difficult to disagree too much with Warren. My expectations for this season, and I'm still in that boat, I'm sure we'll get onto it later, but they haven't been particularly high, just based on all the conversations and what's been said sort of throughout the summer and recruitment. I think the centre-half point is an interesting one. And I do agree, I've got to be honest. Highlights, Chesterfield's the obvious one, right? Because it's probably the first time for a long while we actually watched this beat a team properly over 90 minutes and give them a bit of a battering throughout the entire game. But I think the Oldham one probably impressed me just as much, because they don't lose at home. They've been incredible at home all season up to now, and that was a real kind of grit your teeth and yeah, to come away with 3 points was great. But again, going back to what Warren said, did we deserve 3 points? I don't know. They missed a couple of really good chances. So obviously it was a great month, but yeah, I think probably ended up higher than we expected to be, and maybe deserved to be to an extent, but you know, if you can grind the results out, then you probably deserve them.
And Chris, finally with you, mate. So again, same question regarding the whole month, but obviously the summer always sees comings and goings. Was there any of the signings that you were looking forward to seeing in a Gills shirt? And also regarding the much talked about 2-year plan, did this month bring back thoughts to Gills fans and brought them straight back to we're going to go up mode? And it may be why some fans are getting a little bit twitchy when we move further through the months.
No, I think personally for me, yeah, it was a good month. Obviously, Chesterfield was, I wouldn't say an anomaly as such, but yeah, it was definitely the best game of the month. Lenny Serino was absolutely on fire that night, and his run through and goal from an assist from Glenn Morris is absolutely brilliant. I didn't get too ahead of myself, although you can bask in the moment. You have to think that October is just around the corner. And it's always October, isn't it, for the last 3 seasons? And I think I said this on another podcast as well. I'm going to wait until October's out of the way before I then give my overview of how I think we're going to do. It's nice to get a good start to the season. Accrington, as Warren said, we were lucky to get a draw there. It turned out a goal from a corner from Little, I believe it was, wasn't it? Nice weekend, though. Really good weekend. So, yeah, it just felt a little bit, I think most Gills fans would probably say it, like, yeah, it's okay, we've won loads of games in August, but, you know, it's not crunch time. We did that last season, and look what happened. So, yeah, I'm not getting ahead, but bask in the moment.
Cool. I got a quick question before we move on for all of you. What, as I mentioned at the start, it was the 3rd year we've had Manager of the Month for August. Why do we start seasons so well, do you think, Warren?
Because the core of our squad is there. We haven't made too many changes with regards to personnel. That's come a little bit later in September, but we haven't made many changes to key personnel. All the guys that are playing know exactly how each other play, and I think that we're stronger in August because of that, rather than some of the squads that change 7, 8, 9, 10 players.
And Jack, same question to you, because when you look at those fixtures, again, we played Walsall right at the start of the season, who lost the playoffs. Chesterfield, who I think were one of the favourites for promotion. As you mentioned in your review of August, Oldham is a difficult place to go. How comes we seem to do so well in August?
It's really difficult to put your finger on, because if it had been, you know, the same, if we'd have had the same manager in for the last 3 years, it'd be easier to talk about, but we haven't. It's been different pretty much every single time, isn't it? So it is hard to put your finger on. Maybe the pressure hasn't set in yet, so it's just a case of everybody going out there and just being able to put their stamp on it and try and secure their place in the team, rather than think about the points and where you're going to be at the end of the season and who you're battling against and who your rivals are for promotion. I mean, to play Walsall, who are currently top of the league, 2nd game of the season, it's probably a good thing for us, right? Because everybody's, I said, nobody's settled yet. But as I said before, you've still got to go out and do it, though, right? So it was impressive, but as far as to why, I don't know. I think maybe Warren's point about stability and having that consistent squad and having the same players around from last season was probably a good thing. I definitely think this year, if I would say anything, it's that luckily for us we had Ainsworth for the last 10 games of the season before, so having that structure and everything in place was probably helpful. But it's really hard to put your finger on. It's such a strange situation, isn't it?
And Chris, finally with you, if you look down the Gills column here, bar the Chesterfield game, there's again lots of ones. Obviously, we're going to probably get onto forwards and goal scoring at some point during this review. Early on in the season, back in August, what was it a concern for you regarding goal scoring again? As again, we were struggling to hit more than one very often?
I think I wasn't really overly bothered in August because we did have Seb Palmer holding out. So you had him to come back. He was brought in as a striker. It's always been an issue with us for the last 3 or 4 years, isn't it? Like getting goals, scoring goals. I mean, we are creating more now. Well, we were in August anyway. But yeah, with Seb out, I think it kind of, masked the inadequacy in that area, because you're always then thinking, oh, okay, Seb's coming back though, but Seb's coming back though, but Seb's coming back though. So it kind of masked it a little bit. You can't really be too hard on them for August. I think, as I say, bask in the moment. I definitely did. But yeah, it kind of always seems to be a thing for us. So I don't know the answer to why we are consistent at the start and then not so much later on. But yeah, is what it is.
Now, as we will move on to September. So obviously, end of August, the transfer window slammed shut. We made 3 deadline day signings from memory. We brought in Akimara from Watford, and then 2 wide players in Johnny Smith and Gareth McCleary came in. So I'll start with you, Warren, before we go on to that. On the deadline day dealings, what did you make of the acquisitions on deadline day? Did you think they were the type of players that we needed?
How do we know they don't play?
In August.
How do we know we don't see them play? The sick notes, pair of them. There's been no mention from the club about why they're out and how long they're out. Smith had an influence in the Newport game. McCleary had an influence in the Bromley game. But what else have they done? Not a lot. Although there was good signings, they're not good signings if they're stuck in the treatment room.
And Chris, same question to you on the deadline day signings. Was there any of the 3 that obviously, bar what Warren said, obviously the 2 attacking players have been injured for quite a bit, and Akimo has made a few appearances in the Pizza Hut Trophy, and he came on at sub at the weekend. Were there any of them that wowed you and you were excited about when you saw they'd signed?
Yeah, I think Johnny Smith, he was a standout. Obviously, speaking to a lot of Wigan fans, and they were telling me, you've got a real player there. He shouldn't be playing in League Two. Obviously, as Warren alluded to, we haven't seen him yet as much, but, Johnny's coming back. I think he'd be back next week or the week after. Gareth McCleary, not too sure on. But then you got to think Gareth McCleary is 38 years old. Injuries can happen a lot more frequently. So we hope to see him soon. But yeah, with regards to September itself, if we're getting that far now, or are you still going somewhere else? Sorry, Jack. You haven't had your say on the signings yet.
Yeah, and same to you, Jack. Was there any other signings that you were excited about, or did you feel that we missed an area out that we could have, again, after a solid August, where we really could have gone and strengthened in other areas potentially?
I think by that point, the area that Warren and myself mentioned earlier on at centre half, and probably at that time of pass. So bringing in the youngster from Watford was fine. We needed numbers, we need legs in there, so that's great. Johnny Smith, I was excited about because we've seen what he's done before, and I think the Newport game he showed, exactly why it is that we brought it in, and we beat off some really good competition to bring him in, which was great. McCleary excited me, not so much because of the impact I thought he'd have on the pitch, to be honest with you. I think him, along with Vokes, bring us something that we didn't have last year. Sort of in the changing room and behind the scenes. I think they were, they're both going to be and are important to what we're doing. So yeah, I was happy with that. I clearly had the impact of Bromley. We lost him for 2 games after that, and then since because he got banned subsequently, but then and clearly he's been injured since. But I think we've seen that he can definitely be a threat at this level, which is great. But as I said, I think he was brought in more for his what he's going to do behind the scenes, and with some of the younger players in the squad. So Yeah, I was pleased. I was happy. I recognised all the names. We've seen what they can do at the level above consistently, very, very recently. So, yeah, it was good. And to be fair, when you're looking at the results, all right, you take Harrogate out of it, the Harrogate game out of it. We could have had 5 that day. We didn't, but you take that match out. We did score. We scored twice. We scored once. We scored 3 times. So the impact to me was there to be seen in a way. Bringing those guys in, but yeah, obviously since then, and I'm sure we'll get onto it, but it's just been a shame we haven't really seen much of them.
Cheers, guys. Right, now we'll move on to September itself. So obviously it's a 4-game month. We started on Sky away to Bromley with a 2-2 draw, which ended in a bit of controversy. We were then at home to Notts County. We won 1-0. We then broke a club record of an unbeaten run with a 3-1 victory away to Newport. And then we finished the month with our first defeat after that unbeaten run in Gareth Ainsworth's last game before his heart operation, which we found about after the game. Chris, I'll start with you first on this one. When you look at that run that we had there, again, going 2-0 down at Bromley, getting it back, yes, there was some controversy. Then we, again, play a team that's looking like they're going to probably at least get playoffs in Notts County, and we beat them. We then go to a tricky ground, Newport, again, club record on the line, and we go and win. What were your thoughts after those 3 games now? Because obviously in August you said you weren't getting too excited, but now we're getting towards the back end of September. We still haven't lost. We're on a long unbeaten run. What were you thinking after the Newport game?
It was brilliant. Like, it was so great to see the players celebrating. It's a massive, massive, massive achievement for them players. 21 games unbeaten that's a lot for any team. I don't care what division you're in. It's absolutely phenomenal. Still wasn't getting overly excited because, again, October was just around the corner, and I just can't get excited for that month at the moment for the last 3 seasons. I think I personally would have thought that we would have beaten Harrogate. It wasn't to be. But then this is the thing, like when, teams have then picked up their ideas now and been like, oh, Gillingham, all we've got to do is sit back, have a low block, and then probably get them on the break or something like that, which is testament to the team because they obviously, opposition are now thinking that way. I wasn't getting too excited just yet. I was starting to maybe a few buds growing of excitement, but not overly.
And staying with you, Chris, based on obviously, again, going back to the first question I asked you regarding goal scoring, and then we moved into September and there wasn't just ones in the column. I think Seb Palmer-Holden had started to make an appearance now. He obviously wasn't starting games. We had a fit Josh Andrews, had Elliot Nevitt up front as well. What did you make of the way we were playing going forward in September?
I think we were still trying. We were still putting the effort in. You can't deny that. I definitely think that we were unlucky at home to Harrogate because we pretty much peppered their goal, and then they just that one in the first half, that one movement across our defenders to then score. Was it Maynard Kenner or something like that? I think we were unlucky, but yeah, you can still see that the team were trying. There was nowhere in my mind that thought, we're falling apart. You can still, any Gills fan, and we keep saying this on this show, any Gills fan that can see a Gills team trying, regardless of if we lose, we walk away relatively happy. So yeah.
I'll come to you, Warren. Obviously, yeah, your review of September. Anything that stands out, and without going into too much, because obviously we're going to talk about October in a minute. Was there anywhere in these 3 games that you started to think something could potentially go wrong?
Yeah, I personally thought that the writing was on the wall. We started to concede early goals. Bromley and Newport, we started to look a little bit weaker mentally. all right, the Notts County game was okay. And as Chris said, all 4 games we tried our hardest, and you can't fault the lads for that. But sometimes trying your hardest only gets you so far. And I think the lack of quality within our side going forward in creating chances is starting to catch up with us. And the fact that we've got 2 young centre halves in Smith and Gale playing centre back is starting to look a little bit wobbly now. Masterson's out long term. They did well to start off with, but Smith, Ogie, Gale, and the lad from Watford, whose name I can't pronounce for the lower life of me. So I try and avoid saying his name or bringing him into any conversations. I just think that the Bromley game really started to show a few little cracks, and any team that attack us with pace, we struggle.
And Jack, over to you as well for your review. And when do you think it will really sink into Gills fans and young and old regarding that unbeaten run and how difficult that was, especially over two seasons to get 21 games unbeaten? When do you think that will sink in and really be recognised that what a great achievement that was?
I mean, it deserves to be now. I think it was absolutely unbelievable, and I think the thing that makes it even more impressive is where that came from. I mean, you consider where we were this time last season, and then we had, we went through. I mean, even before that, you go from when Harris went, then you had the Stephen Clements period, then you had the Mark Bonner period, and then the John Coleman period. He steadied the ship, and I'll always give him credit for that. But the fact that we then went 21 games unbeaten is ridiculous, in my opinion. Like, I don't know where that came from, but it was absolutely brilliant. I wasn't and haven't been particularly over the top with sort of getting excited even after those results. I was at the Bromley game. It scared the life out of me that first 15 minutes. But having said that, I thought we came back into the game, and I think we deserved the point. I know the penalty at the end was what it was, but I thought we deserved the point out of it. Notts County, I thought was a really, really good home performance. Newport, that's when for me I was a bit like, okay, because quite easily we could have been 2-0 down within the first 11 minutes again had they put that penalty away, and then I think you've got too much to do again, and I think that's been the kind of running theme from now. So I think the Newport game was when it first started ringing a little bit of concern, but then on the flip side we went to score 3 goals, and again probably could have had more. So I think it's that balance between everything that we've been as Gills fans frustrated about for the last 2 or 3 years, where we're watching us not create anything at all and it being really difficult to watch and we're all getting frustrated and moaning, but being brilliant defensively, to then what happened in September, where it seemed like we were almost going too far the other way, if you see what I mean. And I think that's where the balance has been a little bit off, and where I started getting a bit concerned. But luckily, up until the Harrogate game, we were being quite effective at the top end.
And then October comes.
Does it? Oh God, do we have to? I'm just okay. Let's go.
Right. And then, the month we all look forward to when the fixtures come out is October. So we played Milton Keynes Dons away, lost 3-2. We then had a home game to Cheltenham, drew 1-1, went to Grimsby and lost 1-0, and then had a home game to Salford and we lost 2-1. So, Warren, I'll start with you. I was going to say, if you can try and be as diplomatic as you can, but that's not what we're about. If you can go over what's gone wrong in October, and I want to give you a couple of players for you to talk about. Again, whether you want to be positive, negative, that's kind of what we're here for. I want you to talk about Elliot Nevitt, because I know you're a big fan. And I also want you to talk about Johnny Williams, because I feel like Johnny Williams sometimes goes a little bit under the radar personally. He wins a lot of man of the matches. I don't know if that's just because the match day sponsors want to have their photo taken with him or whether he does play well. But yeah, if you could discuss those two players and then obviously the dreaded month.
Right, so I'll discuss Johnny Williams first. Apart from scoring twice since he's been here, when do you ever see him making an assist? When do you ever see an incisive pass? When do you see him create something for someone else because he's made a run and taken players away from himself? Johnny Williams runs all day, but all four of us could run all day. If that's what you want.
I don't know.
Right. Mate, I've only got one leg and I can still run around all day if it meant playing professional football. Honestly, Johnny Williams to me, I just don't get him. There's a brilliant player there, don't get me wrong, but since he's been at Gillingham, what has he actually produced? Really? If anyone can tell me what he's actually done.
Why do you think he goes under the radar then? Because you never see on social media Gills fans saying we need to take Johnny Williams out the team, this and that. But again, obviously, you know my feelings on Elliot Nevitt. I wanted him out the team. Why does Johnny Williams get away with it?
Because he's flavour of the month. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. He runs around, looks interested, works hard. But actually, with Gills fans, I find it quite distasteful. When I've done for 50 odd years that we all seem to, Gillingham fans seem to have one player they pick on, right? Every single season, there's one player they pick on. Does anyone think that their player's going to start playing well by suddenly getting on his back? Do you think he's going to want to put the shirt on and play for the fans that are giving him grief home and away? What is the point of it? I don't get it. I really don't. And I come on to Elliot Nevitt. Elliot Nevitt's not done a lot wrong, in my opinion, right? Okay, the goals column could be a bit higher, but how many times are we playing him wide or just off? Like you mentioned Saturday, he played just off of Andrews, right, and was in the positions that Dak would like to get in, right? When he plays up front, and we provide chances from, he scores goals. But we've got to provide the chances for him. And I think the fact that Dak, Williams, right, what are they providing for us in this number 10 role? I hate it. I'd get rid of it. I think Dak in his first spell and Paul Shaw were the only two players that could ever play the number 10 role effectively, right? Dak hasn't got the legs anymore to play it now, and Williams doesn't provide anything. So let's get shot at this stupid number 10 role. I hate it. Play two up front. Play two wide men in midfield. Play two central midfield players. Let's try and work the ball out wide, because what we're doing at the moment, we've been sussed out. And we got sussed out last year. We got sussed out the year before. And we're continuing to get sussed out because, unfortunately, we have got no pace in our side. Pace-wise, we're awful. Experience-wise, what experience have we got at the back or in the centre of midfield? What person's going to put their foot in? Right? All these players are trying. I don't want to overgo the players because every single game this season, every player's tried. At Grimsby, we went down the line and looked the better side. Right? Those 9 players or whoever played at Grimsby deserve accolades because they worked really hard. But what quality have we actually got? If someone can tell me what quality we've actually got by players that continually to show it week in, week out, tell me. All three of you, tell me which one.
If I'm honest, I don't
so
think
you're quiet. You're quiet. You're quiet. You can't come up. You can't tell me straight away who is quality, who is providing anything in a positive way in the final third of the pitch. So we ever go at Nevitt because he can't score, But we don't ever go at Johnny Williams and Bradley Dack, who are meant to be providing him with opportunities to score. Because that, to me, is what the number 10 role is.
Yeah, I would like to probably see a bit more of Seb Palmer Holden before I lay my hat on the fact that we haven't got any quality going forward, because I think he's shown glimpses of that, but we are yet to see that. I think, yeah, you could say Josh Andrews does in glimpses, but it is in glimpses. But yeah, not. I agree. Not much quality up top.
Cheers, Warren. I'm gonna come to you now, Chris. Exactly the same for you. If you can pick out any moment from the month that was a highlight or a performance by a player or anything, if you could mention that. And your players, we've just mentioned one, Josh Andrews, obviously signed 1.5, 2 seasons ago now, been injured majority of the time. But this season we've seen him pretty regularly now, seems to be staying fit, getting a good run in the side. If you can discuss your thoughts on him. And also our right back, who's not always been everyone's cup of tea, but for me, he was never present in the 21 game unbeaten run. And what are your thoughts on how Hutton's performed so far this season?
Yeah, so I think highlight would stand out for me would be Josh Andrews' goal against Salford. I think it was quality. But the link-up play between him and Vokes seems to be doing okay, but again, not absolute quality. It was a great little flick and a great little volley, so that was a highlight of October, I guess. But it's a very low bar, isn't it? Because there wasn't much else to go on. I think I will talk about Josh Andrews a little bit more later on as well. But if we talk about Romeo Hutton, I think that he was massively misused under Clements when he first came in. I do think that he was ridiculously misused under Bonner, even Coleman, to be fair. But I think that now he's in with Gareth there. I think that he's been playing a lot better. I do feel that sometimes his crossing can be a bit wayward. It's a bit floaty and a bit, trying to be a bit fancy where he could have just been a bit more direct. But then you could also caveat that with saying, if we're talking about quality in the forward positions, do we have the quality in the box to read what he's trying to do? So no issues with Hutton. I think he was wrongfully sent off against Grimsby. Luckily, that was rescinded. But yeah, there's a good player there. I like his little turns and he makes the runs. But I think sometimes his crossing leaves a little bit to be desired. But again, quality up front as well needs to be a lot better.
And Jack, I'll come to you. If you can review in the best way you can the results and your two players are two signings. So they haven't played lots of minutes, but I just want to know what you think of Lenny Serino and whether you think he deserves a run in the side, and also Sam Vokes. Just what you've made of him on the pitch with his experience, and whether you think he's someone that should be getting a regular run in the side.
I'll start with the two players. I think Sam Vokes is an easier one. I really like him, and I think he provides one thing very, very well. He's he scored the winner away at Oldham, which was great, and I think he's a good target man. I think he holds the ball up well. I think he brings other players into play. I don't think he's going to score us 10, 15 goals this season. But I would probably argue, I'd probably think the same of the others, but it's just because of what I think they are, more so than me suggesting that they're not good enough, if that makes sense. Lenny Serino is an interesting one. I think, he's a young player. He hasn't got a lot of EFL experience. He's been in academy football for a long time. He had a really, really, really good performance against Chesterfield, and I know he's come off the bench and looked quite good a couple of times. Clearly, Ainsworth... And I'll leave it at Ainsworth. I'm not going to suggest Dobbo's the same, but I think Ainsworth doesn't yet trust him. I think to start a game at left back, which is what we're all, I think, understanding his position is left back, left wing back. I don't think he trusts him enough to play there, so or to start at the moment. But I dare say in kind of the coming months, we might see more of him. I like him. He's again one of the few players we have that has got pace and that is positive and that doesn't really show a lot of fear from what I've seen of him. could have unearthed a bit of a gem with him. I still don't know what his contract situation is. Just completely separate note. I think didn't we sign until January? I don't know whether we've actually. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what actually happens with that. I would imagine we'll probably give him a deal, but I don't know. October itself, I'm still really positive, to be honest, and people are going to disagree with me. I know they are, but I think October has provided us with, coincidentally, a similar October to the last couple of years. But what we've been dealing with this October has been like nothing we've seen in the last couple of years either. Like we don't have a manager. We had, I think it was who did we play after Grimsby? Was that the Salford game? We had six. Yeah, we had 6 first team players in theory, or 6 players good enough to be in the first team that weren't in it. We haven't had our wide players fit for the entire month, and that's Aaron Rowe, that's Johnny Smith, that's Gareth McCleary. We haven't had those guys. I think we got it tactically wrong at MK, and I think everybody's pretty comfortable with that. But I actually think we played quite well in the other 3 games. I don't think we did a lot wrong, I'll be honest. I think the Cheltenham game, they had an almighty piece of luck that was probably due based on the start they had, and the fact that I think we were just a bit unlucky with that manager scenario. We should have put more away. We didn't. I think Grimsby, it's really difficult to judge the Grimsby game, but I don't think we were doing badly before we went down to 10 men. I think they were starting to put the pressure on, but I think we're pretty comfortable with that generally. And the Salford game, I said it straight after. I think we did plenty. We did more than enough to get a point out of that game, and I think we created enough chances to win it. We just didn't. Plus, you kind of mirror that. You add into the fact that we don't have a manager, and we haven't had a manager since the Harrogate game. Yes, it's telling that it's had an impact, but to be honest, I don't even have anything to compare it against. Like I don't know. I haven't got another example of another scenario where a manager went off and had a major operation and missed a large chunk of games. If anybody does, then that'd be great. But obviously, to me, that's going to have an impact. And I don't think we've dealt with it that badly. I just think that we've been a little bit unlucky, bit of rub of the green. We missed a penalty against Salford. Couple of good saves from goalkeepers. Elliot Nevitt had one off the line against Harrogate. I don't think we've been that bad. I'll be honest. I think we've been in every game. Again, with the exception of maybe MK Dons.
And a question to you all before I move on to our team of the season so far. Obviously, it's all hindsight based because obviously October's come and gone. I would think the club obviously knew a long time before Gareth went that he was going to be going. Do you think they should have looked to give Dobbo help, even if it was someone within the club? Obviously, Joe Dunn's there; he's got league experience as a manager. Or do you think they've done the right thing and obviously given Dobbo the chance? He knows Gareth; he knows what Gareth would have done. And is there anything that could have happened differently, knowing that Gareth was going to go away for a month? If I start with you, Warren.
No, I think it's just one of them situations that the club knew about it long before Gareth went in for his op. I don't think the club realised how bad it would be. And I think that all the social media about Gareth coming back, yes, I agree to a certain extent, but let's not rush him back. If it takes till after Christmas, if it takes till February, if it takes till May, I couldn't care. Let's think about the person and how he recovers. So I'd like to say Ainsworth out of the options. I think they could have brought in one of the new form words, an interim manager maybe, to work alongside Dobbo. Not necessarily Joe Dunn, but even though I love Joe a bit, but they could have maybe brought in an interim manager that Ainsworth would have suggested to come in for the games that he would miss. And that would allow Gareth to just take a complete backseat, get better, hopefully quicker, rather than him playing with little bits of it and him not being there. I don't agree with that. Either Dobbo runs the whole show or we get someone else in to help Dobbo. I just don't. I just don't see Ainsworth putting in these little bits and pieces when he's lying at home recuperating from his operation. I don't get it.
And same question to you, Jack.
I think did I hear? I think that Brad and Shannon did speak to Dobson and offer him, ask him if there was anything they needed, and he said no. So I think from the club's perspective, I think they did their bit and put an option out there and asked him what they could do, and if Dobson and I imagine and Ainsworth together probably thought they could deal with it. Again, I'm probably in the camp of I think that what they've done is probably about as good as you could do. I suppose again, maybe speak to Joe Dunn, or I suppose otherwise you're going to be looking at Hess and Tyler, I suppose, coming down and helping out from a football perspective. I don't know.
No. Please, no.
No, this is my point.
No,
This is my point. Like, I don't know what the other.
no.
I don't know what the other options would have been. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see somebody coming in because Ainsworth probably still doesn't know how long he's going to be out for. So it's difficult to get somebody in for a period of time. So I think they've probably done all they can, and I think Rubber the Green going slightly differently, we're 1, maybe 3 points better off. I don't think it looks that bad, but it just kind of is what it is.
And same to you, Chris. And just another question off the back of it. Obviously, when Gareth did his little interview to let us know about his operation, he did mention he was only going to be out for 4 weeks. Do you just think that was him just being maybe a little bit blasé about how serious this operation was? And obviously, because it was clearly never going to be 4 games. Yeah,
potentially, mate. I mean, my dad had heart surgery and it took him months to get back to anything resembling normal. Maybe he was just trying to downplay it. Gareth being Gareth, he probably thought he would be back within 4 weeks. You never know. But, yeah, I think we just need to stick with it. I mean, I put on the Facebook group the other day where someone said something and I was just like, look, I'd happily write this season off if it meant Gareth come back healthy. I'm not overly enamoured by results. I think the team is still trying. Rubber the Green, as Jack said, I think it does play a part. It's a very different situation to what we used to. You've just got to get behind the boys, got to get behind Dobbo, and just we hope things come right. So yeah, I'm not overly worried by it. I do think that we do need to put it into perspective. We are only 4 points off top, so that is also something that needs to be looked at. Yes, we're out of the FA Cup. Yes, we're out of the Carabao Cup, but maybe it's what's needed to a degree for us to then just focus on the league. We've still got the Pizza Trophy. It's nice to have a run in the cup, but at the same time, I think for the league's more important. If come May we're promoted, then I don't think anyone will give a flying toss about the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup.
David?
Yes, mate.
I'd like to just ask a question for all 3 of you. Having gone through August, September, October, and knowing the position we're in, knowing what the points difference is in, right, what position do you now think Gillingham will finish come the end of the season?
Cool.
If League Two resembled anything like, if there was one team that even looked consistent, I'd have a go at that. But nobody looks good. Nobody's able to put a string of results together. Even the team top of the league have barely. I don't know how many points they picked up last month, but it wasn't many. I honestly have no idea. But it's more because of League Two than it is us. It's just hard to put us against anyone.
Yeah, but where do you think we'll finish? No, you've seen the squad for 3 months. We've still got the same squad till January, right? Where do you think we'll finish, Jack? Give me a number.
I mean, start of the season, I had 9th or 10th.
No, you just give me a number, mate.
I'll stick with it.
Just give me a number.
I'll stick with 9th. I'll stick with that.
9.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, I think 9th was where I predicted at the start of the season, and there's nothing in the team that's made me think we're going to finish any higher. So at the moment, obviously without a January, 9th.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7th. I laid my hat on 7th at the start of the season. I'm staying 7th.
I'm going to go 11th.
All right.
I thought you were going to say relegated.
Yeah, I know. It would be Warren's way. Right.
Right, we're going to move on to our teams of the season so far. So, Warren, how hand over to you. Everyone will be able to see the graphic. If you can discuss why you've picked this team and especially why you've picked Connor Masterson, because he's barely kicked a ball all season.
Yeah, I picked Connor purely and simply because when he did play at the back, we looked strong as anything. And since he's been out, it's not necessarily so. I picked Mackenzie alongside him because when Mackenzie played centre half, he was really good. Gal's been my player of the season so far, so he would get in as a back three. Hutton and Sereno are our best two wing backs. If he was playing a 4, I'd play Clark. If you're playing a 5, Sereno. Little and Coleman. Williams, out of him and Dak. I think Williams has been better than Dak, so I'll play Williams in the 10, and then Andrews and Nevitt out front.
Thank you very much. We will move on to Jack's team. If you can discuss yours. And again, you've gone for Connor Masterson, who's not really kicked the ball. And if you can discuss you've gone very Arsenal with 4 centre-backs playing across your back 4. If you can discuss that, mate.
Do you know what? I've completely misunderstood this. I thought we were going for like what our preferred 11 would be, as opposed to what our 11 from the season is. So that's why mine might look a little bit odd. But this is what I would do, and I suppose, to be fair, it probably is based on performances more than anything else. I know. I suppose the obvious is clearly the back 4, but I would like to see Hutton move further up the pitch. I was saying that the other day. I think all of his best attributes and the ability he's got is seen at the top end of the pitch. I think getting balls into the box. I think we've seen him run at players a little bit this season where we haven't before, and I imagine that's a little bit down to confidence. I think Sam Gale behind him. I think we could put him anywhere, and he'd be brilliant. To be honest with you, with his pace and his ability and how he can push into midfield. Shadowgi at left back. I know he's very contentious, and Warren was talking about, Jules fans getting on players' backs, and he's definitely one of those. But I think he's probably one of our best 1v1 defenders, and I think left back has been a bit of an issue for us. And I know Chris mentioned the Harrogate goal earlier on, and that was where that came from. So I'd quite like him to be at left back, but just focusing on what he's good at, which is defending, and I think he is very good at that. And then going forward, I would just have our best players, or the players that I would perceive to be our best players, up there. I think this is the system we played under Martin Allen, if I remember rightly, when we won League Two. I don't think League Two's come on particularly far since then, as far as how the rest of the game's progressed. But also saying that if we talk about Smith, Andrews, Palmer, Holden, and Dak, we've very rarely seen them play together. So I'd like to see them play together. I think having all of those players on the pitch gives us more of an opportunity. And I think you could, this could become one of many things. Gale could move up into midfield. He's good enough to do that, and then it becomes a back 3. There's lots of stuff you could do. But that's what I would like to see, because I think they are our best players in those positions.
And Chris, if you can discuss yours. And again, you've gone for Connor Masterson, who's not really kicked a ball. If you could, discuss your team, mate. Yeah,
so I think Connor just gives us that solidity at the back with Sam and Andy either side. I'm not a massive fan of a back 5, but we've not really seen anything else other than a back 5 because of the lack of options on the wings. Lenny Sereno for me starts on the left, but it would look very different if it was a back 4. Max Clark would definitely be my choice in a back 4 because I think he's better in a 4 than he is a 5. Because I think in a 5, if you put Max Clark at left wing back, we do look quite unbalanced because Hutton likes to get forward a lot more than Clark does. There's no disrespect to Max at all because he's a very good player and a very consistent player for us. Mr. Swiss Army Knife, Robbie McKenzie, I'd just have him in there all day long. I think he's a lot better in there than he is at any other position in the field, really. Amani Little, just his fight and passion as captain, I'd have him there. Daki, I'm not saying I don't rate Johnny Williams, but for me, Daki's got that moment of brilliance, whereas I don't think Johnny necessarily has. Josh Andrews and Sam Vokes up top, because I think, they seem to be working well together. At Salford, they looked very good. Seb Palmer Holden for me could have been in for either one of them, but I think where we haven't seen a great deal of Seb this far, but possibly if another 3, 4, 5 games, and that could have been different with any of them two up front. But that's mine for now after 14 games.
And then I'll go through mine. So I haven't gone for Masterson because I was on holiday when he played his game, so I haven't actually seen him play at all this season. So I went for a back four of Hutton, Gale, Smith, and Clark. Had Mackenzie and Coleman. I went for Coleman over Little. Obviously, Little's been injured a lot, and I feel that his injuries actually benefited, obviously, Ethan Coleman getting into the team. And I feel that last season Coleman, in my opinion, was pretty poor. And I think this season we've seen a much better Ethan Coleman, and I think we're benefiting, and he is benefiting from a run in the team. I've put Dak in there with them. Again, like you guys, it was either Dak or Williams, and for me, Dak just offers you a lot more. He's more of a goal threat. You notice him more than Johnny Williams. So I got him in the team. I went for the 2 big men up front. And from what I've seen of Seb Palmer Holden, he's the only one of the centre forwards that we've got that's confident and comfortable enough running in behind defenders. All the others either want it into them, where he's happily to run into channels, and he's got that little bit of pace, as you saw from the goal in the cup at Newport, and hopefully that's going to be the start of a long run of goal scoring for him. And that is my team.
Guys,
yes, mate.
Sorry, I've got to go. They've just called the contestants up for Mr. Budgie Smugglers Tenerife 2025. So I've got to go and get ready. And I've got to disappear. Right. My player of the season was Sam Gale. Right. He's been head and shoulders above everyone else. So, but I have got to go.
All right, mate, no worries.
Enjoy your holiday,
mate. Mate.
Oh, God. Right. So, anyway, sorry. Jack.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work out how to turn his computer off.
Sam Gale. I think probably, without speaking for anybody else, probably the obvious choice at the minute. I don't think there's a better young defender in the league, if I'm honest with you. I think he's brilliant. He's quick. He's strong. If he does make a mistake, which is rare, he generally tracks back and sorts it out. I love his passion. I love that he winds up the opposition players and the opposition fans. He's just pretty much everything I want to see, and he's been very consistent this season. I don't remember a game where I've thought he's had a poor game. So Sam Gale.
Yep. And shock, David's going to love this one. And there are reasons for it. It was very close for me between him and Gale. But I just think with the things that he's been through in the last 18 months, 2 years with the club, the injuries that he's had, how he's been unlucky with them, coming back and having a consistent run within the team. Also, he tries his socks off all the time, regardless of, yes, okay, he does go missing in games sometimes, and he does look a little bit lost, but could we then probably put that down to, lack of game time over the last 2 years? I just feel that he gives everything for the team, and, seeing him have a good run of games and seeing how upset he was last season when he'd have a game or two and then be out. There are definitely things that he needs to work on in his game. I don't think he's necessarily the quintessential target man. I think he's better with ball to feet, but that's the way that the team played. That's not on him. So it just edged it over Sam for me, who would have been the obvious choice. And it did take me a while to think about this one. But for me, so far, Josh Andrews will be my player of the season.
Talking of obvious choices, I've gone for Sam Gale. I think when we did our pre-season show, I was a little bit unsure on Sam Gale, especially in a 2. and he's definitely proved me wrong this season. For me, he's more comfortable in a 2 than actually in a 3. There's still the odd time where he does scare me. He hasn't been caught this season, but there's the occasional time where it looks as if he just wants to overplay and might take a touch or two too many and get closed down. But 9 times out of 10, he recovers, and I'm starting to get that horrible feeling that he's not going to be at the club very long. And I don't know at what level yet that I can see him getting to. Can I see him playing in the Premier League? Not yet, but could I easily see him playing in League One or the Championship? Definitely. I'd love to see him get that move if it ever did happen to play in the Premier League. I don't think any Gills fan would love to see a Gills player play in the Premier League one day. Again, obviously, we haven't had one since Matt Jarvis. Yeah. So I think he's one. I think we've got to enjoy him while he's here.
Well, didn't Ryan Bertrand play in the Premier League after Matt Jarvis?
He never played for us in the end of the year. It's Matt Jarvis and Andrew Croft.
I suppose you could kind of,
Mama Sadavy, I think he played, but when it's like one of your own, I think it's only Matt Jarvis, I think.
Yeah.
Luke Freeman did, didn't he? He was with us when he was a kid, I think. But anyway, yeah, point stands. Absolutely, it'd be great.
Yeah. And then we look ahead back to league action. God, I hate it when you read these out. So Bristol Rovers have won, lost, and we have lost, drawn, lost. So it's got a classic written all over it. Chris, you're going. If you could, give us your thoughts on your hopes for the game and what you think is going to happen.
I think out of all of the teams that we've played recently, this is probably a good opportunity for us to get back in and put a W next to that. They're not in the greatest of form, neither are we. It could go one or two ways for me. I think we'll either go there and we'll play really well, or it will be much like the FA Cup game on Saturday, where it was a bit of a non-event, really, wasn't it, mate? For the 90 minutes. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Gills win just to get back onto winning ways. If we do draw, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'd quite the fact that we're going to Bristol and it's not on your doorstep. It would be nice to go there and get a win for the first time in a long time. So yeah, 2-1 win.
Jack.
Well, yeah, I'm confident as I have been for the last few. To be fair, I mean they've conceded 4 in their last 3, so the fact that we've been scoring goals this season, I'm confident we'll go there and score at least once. I'm going to back us for a semi-comfortable 2-0 win. I just think with the run that they're on, with everything they're going through behind the scenes and everything like that, I fancy this one, so I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, I think we'll win as well. I think like you guys have said, I think it'd be 2-0, 2-1. I think it's actually we're not must win yet, but I think we're getting very close. We just need to stop this rot, and I think like Jack said, they're shipping goals for fun at the moment. So I think it's a nice place to go and hopefully end that. And I'm sure if Warren was on here, he'd be saying it's going to be 2-0 Bristol Rovers. It's his go-to score. So
Isn't it?
If he does watch this after his contest on holiday, he can quote me.
It's fair play to him. Like he's away in Tenerife, so letting him leave a little bit earlier and him having to leave a little bit earlier is definitely not a bad thing, because I don't think I'd want to be doing this if I was on holiday. So yeah. Anyway, so.
And finally, yet another thanks to the sponsors and the partners. As sets up, we are partnered with Gillingham FC Supporters Club, Her Game 2, and the Sports Social Podcast Network. And we are sponsored by Wicked Creative and Snodhurst Used Cars and Service Station.
Anything else before we go, boys? I think I just want to ask each of you your goal of the season so far, seeing as we've been reviewing the season so far. So, David, I'll go with you.
There was a couple that came to mind. I really like the Johnny Williams goal. The other way, I thought Hutton's ball over the top, his touch and goal, I thought were fantastic. But for me, there was only one. I'd go for Johnny Smith's goal at Newport, would be my goal of the season so far.
There we go. And Jack, yourself, mate.
Yeah, I've got the same answer. I love Josh Andrews' goal against Salford, to be fair. I thought it was a cracker. But Johnny Smith's at Newport, it's tough one to beat.
Nice. And before we go, boys, I do just want to quickly ask both of you, before we do any housekeeping, anything you want to mention before we do head off. We've all gone for Johnny Smith, so that will be in the outro. And also a little bit of outro music that we've now got, courtesy of a certain Colin Nash. So before we go, any housekeeping you want to say, any lingering thoughts you want to leave with the viewers? Jack?
No, I don't think so, to be fair. Just keep positive, keep going, and I'm sure we'll turn it around. I'm certainly positive.
Yeah, there we go. And David, yourself, mate?
No, nothing major to add. Just again, thanks for everyone that's been listening and the support of the channel. It's really appreciated. And we keep doing our best to bring out as good a content as we can moving forward. Yeah,
there we go. So yeah, I would say he's been David, he's been Warren, he's been Jack, and I've been Chris, but Warren's not here. So I'll do it this way. So I've been Chris, he's been Jack, he's been David. Good night and up the Jills.
The view from the Medway.